Hey guys, so today's video we're going to be back on my favorite topic, which is sprinting. I know I've done some other videos on this, and I'm going to continue to make them because I think that everyone, regardless of your sport, your age, your activity level, should be working towards having the ability to perform a few all-out sprints a week. Okay, because you know, as human beings, just talking about it from an evolution standpoint, we've been designed to run. You know, the fact that we've got ball and socket joints of either side of our trunk to create that locomotion, to create momentum and forward propulsion, you know, it makes us quite unique. You know, so that's one of the things that I think that we should always be working to, like, not trying to fight evolution, but try and refine it to become better movers, to become better moving human beings, essentially, right? Because essentially training should be preparing us for life. It should be making us more resilient, more robust, less likely to get hurt, and more able in everyday life. And I think sprinting has about the highest carryover of that possible, right? Because it's highly anabolic in nature, meaning that it promotes promotes muscle gain, but it also promotes muscle gain in a very functional manner. You're promoting the growth of muscles that are locomotive muscles. You know, this is something that squats, deadlifts don't do. Yes, they train them in the general sense, but not in the specific sense of how they're used through human movement. And that's what makes sprinting highly unique, and what makes running unique in general, right? What I like about sprinting is because you're now going at maximum speed, your maximum speed, you have to organize your body through time and space to produce that force, and you get better at that over time. You become more efficient at it. And the reality is that, like, sprinting is a high stress situation, you know, so becoming more efficient and more prepared in that environment just makes you more resilient, not only mentally but also physically. You know, one of the main benefits of sprinting as well is it's highly posterior dominant. So we are going to train the posterior chain massively. You know, this is something that I've spoken about in many of my videos in terms of injury prevention. We want to become hip dominant athletes, posterior chain dominant athletes, and sprinting is about as posterior chain dominant as you can get. So that's something that we want to maintain and want to train. On that note, it teaches us to improve running mechanics, to become more efficient at how we strike the ground, where we strike the ground, that will only have a carryover to my longer duration running. All right, so it teaches stiffness upon ground contact, something that you always want to have regardless of whether you're running a 6-minute K or flat out for 50 meters. We need to have that stiffness so that we can transmit the force from hitting the ground up into our body to produce vertical displacement and horizontal displacement. These are both things that we're looking for. You know, it's a body weight movement, right? So we're becoming masters of our body weight, something that I always try and promote. And then the other things that I think goes unsaid is that it promotes fast twitch muscle fibers. Now, as I've sort of turned 40, as I'm getting older, maintaining the level of fast twitch muscle fibers is something that is a priority in my training, because it's one of the first things that diminish if left untrained. So, like, maximum speed, well, you'll start to see a decline in performance in as little as 5 days of not training it. So training once a week in terms of your sprinting just keeps that ability topped up. And that's something that I sort of look at in my training. A lot of what training is about never losing the ability to do something. I think the human body operates under a use it or lose it policy. So if there are things that we should be able to do and we currently can do, we just need to make sure that we maintain a level of practice that maintains them over time. Because again, if I take 2 weeks off sprinting, it not only am I going to lose some performance in that aspect, it's also going to be harder to go back to it, right? Because it's difficult once you're out the habit of anything to get back into it. So for me, a lot of my training is about maintaining good habits, making sure that I'm always touching on sprinting, that I'm always lifting something heavy, that I'm always doing some endurance work, that I'm always doing some sort of lactate work, so some sort of thresholds or some high repeated sprint work, because these are traits that I never want to lose. I still want to be doing this sort of training like when I'm 50 and 60 and 70, you know, and the easiest way to do that is to maintain. I don't want to take a big sabbatical and then have to go back into my 50s. I don't think that will end well. So I think that this is something that we just want to drip feed in on a weekly basis. Now, the key thing here is that for the most part, as I'm like an aging athlete, I couldn't give a monkey's how fast I actually run. As long as I'm running as fast as I can, I'm trying to get better at it. I'm putting myself in that environment on a weekly basis. I will get more efficient. I will get better. Yes, there are going to be people that are always faster than me. Yes, I may have been faster in my 20s, but that isn't the point. The point is that we continue asking the question to continually get the answer we want, which is the maintenance of fast twitch muscle fibers, the constant release of anabolic hormones, so that testosterone growth hormone that is very sort of unique to sprinting. You know, you don't need much volume. It's that effort of pushing yourself as hard as you can for a short period of time that stimulates that release of testosterone and growth hormone, which has a profound effect not only on building muscle but also on reducing body fat. You know, so much of training can be catabolic. You know, these long gym sessions, these long aerobic runs, you know, they are obviously humongously beneficial to the organism, but in isolation and done at too much extremes can be highly catabolic. So it's all about balancing the yin and the yang. We should be extremely explosive, extremely powerful over short distances, and we should have the ability to go slow for long distances. So making sure that we're training each ends of that continuum is vitally important for or at least I believe, for the development of the human body, right? Because again, as I've sort of mentioned, if you don't use it, you lose it. And so you need to make sure that you're looking at these things as just a weekly or daily practice to make sure that, you know, I've got stability upon ground contact, that I know how to produce force, how to strike the ground with my feet so that I can lay down some force to move quickly. You know, because again, from a just a evolutionary standpoint, it's preparing ourselves for life. There is going to be times in life where we need to sprint, whether we're running from something or to something. So making sure that we're preparing ourselves in our training to optimize that is vitally important. And I just think that, like, you know, I think what's worth also mentioning here, there are definitely going to be people watching this that maybe you can't sprint, you've got knee, ankle issues, hip issues, or back issues. You know, you can do this on a bike. You'll get a lot of these benefits by just moving as fast as you can on a bike, on a cross trainer, in a swimming pool. Because the reality is, it's the effort the body knows. You know, when you stress those fast twitch muscle fibers maximally, that's what leads to the sort of cascade of anabolic hormones, the testosterone, the growth hormone, that obviously is hugely beneficial to the human function. Otherwise, people wouldn't be taking synthetic versions of it through steroids, right? So it's understanding that if we can stimulate these biochemicals through our training, you know, we become healthier. We have more muscle mass. We are able to produce more force. These are the reasons we train. We train to be stronger, fitter, faster. And there is no better activity to produce all three of them than sprinting. If you're an athlete who's playing sport on a regular basis, this sprinting is your sport. Repeated sprinting is your sport. So make sure that you are preparing your body for what it is you need it to do. And if you like this video, please feel free to like it, comment, subscribe, do all that jazz, and I will see you guys next time.